My son, Jesse Trader. He was a young, fantastic man. He grew up playing a lot of different sports, obviously, in high school, and enjoyed many times being out on the field with him and enjoying watching him play high school baseball, and then moved on to college to go to his career that he was going to be as a firefighter, structural firefighter. And during his summer break in between his freshman year of college, he was able to do some volunteer firefighting, and ended up doing some wildland firefighting, which was exciting. And his uncle had provided him with this particular position with the Oregon National Firefighting crew out there. And he was fired up about it, and he was really looking forward to getting out there and fighting fire, and he did. And unfortunately, he didn't make it back down the hill, and he was a water tender operator, and he rolled it on the way back down the hill and didn't survive that particular accident. But he was a fine young man. He had a lot in front of him. He was 19 years old, which obviously we all know is kind of the beginning of everything right out of high school, and really wish things would have been different. He was just one of them kids that he took to the outdoors. Whether he was with somebody going out to fish or hunt, that was great, but if not, he was out on his own doing his own thing, so he was very independent. He did have a fantastic girlfriend that kind of supported him in all that, and that was neat to see as well. And so, you know, with the activities of hunting and fishing and sports, it was a full life, and so with that, you know, as parents and stuff like that, trying to keep up with him was difficult. Obviously, it became a point in time where you felt like you were wearing yourself out, just trying to, Dad, let's go do this. Dad, let's go do that. You know, let's get this today. Let's go do this today. And it was kind of like a very time of enjoyment during those periods, but then again at the time of saying, hey, slow down, son. You're moving too fast. I know you want to do everything right now, but you know, you have a lifetime ahead of you, so let's slow down. So, you know, he was that type of kid. It was a very natural transition. The thing was, he did spend a lot of time up in what we call the woods, up in the mountains and stuff like that, doing his fishing, his hunting and stuff. And so he was very comfortable up there, full driving all the time, just enjoying that freedom. He obviously was going to be, you know, studying in college to be able to work in the, you know, fire field of structural fire, but as a student, or many high school kids during the summertime, are recruited to be wildland firefighters, because we do have a large demand of that out there, and it obviously is very dangerous, but then again very rewarding. And so with him being with his uncle at the volunteer fire department, when they needed assistance to be able to fight some of these forest fires in the local area, they would hire, contract in these particular volunteer fire departments to bring in their equipment to assist. And that's how he actually was brought into that particular position in fire, wildland firefighting. So yeah, after Jesse passed, after the accident, there was several stories that a parent learned of that you did not know. And many of those obviously included his friends from high school that kind of came to me directly, or at gatherings where they were there to recognize him in large groups. And the stories, some of them as a parent, you kind of cringed and you didn't really want to hear at the time, but then again you laughed, just because, you know, it was something that you reflected on, going, yeah, that sounds like my son, but he never shared that with me, but I wish he would have at the time. But then again, he probably would have been grounded for a couple of weeks if I would have known about it. So when you do have that type of get-togethers with old friends and stuff, it's some of the most joyful times to be able to hear the stories that you did not know before then, and to be able to interact with them and just to be able to thank them for sharing what they were able to do. I mean, there was one particular story. I had one of his buddies come up to me, and he's all like, you didn't know this, but one particular time we decided to take your truck without you knowing, and decided to go out and go fishing late at night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning while you were in sleep, and we were able to get back home before you got up to go to work, and you didn't even know your truck was gone. And I thought, oh my gosh, I wish I would have known that. That would have been good, because he'd have been in big trouble, but thank you for sharing. So that's one of the stories, and there was many others, but it was always nice to hear them reflect on his life, his private life, I guess, that parents did not know about. Yeah, favorite moments, there's obviously a lot of them, but there was this one particular point. He playing Pop Warner football, young kid. I still do, a lot of refereeing. And I would volunteer more or less during the weekends to referee Pop Warner football games. And they said, well, your son's going to be playing in the next game. Do you want to referee that? And I said, yeah, I have no problem doing that at all, if that's okay with everybody else. Everybody else is fine with it. They know, your integrity, and they know that you're going to be fair. And I said, okay, great. So this one particular time, he was wearing the Jets uniform, and they were playing against the Cowboys. And he was playing on the line, and obviously he said something to the opposing player. And this young boy, and they're about 7 years old, he comes up to me, he says, Mr. Referee, that boy right over there called me a cowgirl. And I said, oh, really? I said, what boy would that be? And he pointed right towards my son. And I said, oh, he did. I said, okay, well, I should probably go talk to him. Well, the story behind it all is when we were growing up, my buddy was a Cowboy fan. I always used to call them the Cowgirls just to get under his skin. So he thought it would be great to call the kid in front of him a cowgirl. So I walked up to him and said, look, Jesse, I said, you cannot be calling them the Cowgirls. And he says, I know, Dad, but you say they're the cowgirl. I'm like, I understand that, but not right now, okay? And he looks at me, he's like, okay, started just laughing, and I'm all like, walked away going, oh my. I set myself up on that one, I suppose. That was a great time. That was a great story. I laughed about it for quite a while. Even after the game, he was just laughing about it too, because he knew it wasn't the right thing to do, but he just thought, hey, Dad calls them the Cowgirls, I'll call them the Cowgirls too. I got a pass, And there was a few other stories. One other one was his younger brother had saved up a few dollars to buy a fishing kayak, and he thought it was just great because now he can take advantage of his little brother and use this fishing kayak all the time. And so he ended up getting the kayak and taking it out to the local lake, which was a small 2-acre lake or something like that. Well, apparently it didn't hold air like it was supposed to, so he ended up sinking it, right? And of course, little brother, of course, had to come back and say, hey, that's what you get for taking my kayak out without permission. God got you. He put a hole in that boat, didn't he? And of course, big brother just couldn't say a whole lot about it other than, yeah, you're probably right. I should have asked you to use it, And I was like, yeah, probably good. So that was pretty funny. I want people to remember about my son is just how generous he was, how outgoing. He was friends with everybody. There was nobody that disliked him because he was the type of kid that was just open to anybody and everybody, whether it be somebody that was a star athlete, kind of like he was, or if it was somebody who wasn't and they were just in a different group of kids, he was able to connect with them too. It just was one of those things where he would I think he made a big effort to make sure he included everybody because he was very popular. He was one of the top kids in high school, and so of course everybody looked up to him. And if everybody felt that he accepted these other kids, then they would follow as well. And so he was that type of kid. He was strong in his beliefs. He was a strong Christian. He believed in his God, and you know what? That was everything to him. And that was really great to see as him grow close. So even after his passing, it was great to see his friends also know that Jesse, he was in heaven. There was no doubt about it. And for them, they kind of took that to look upon themselves in the mirror going, what if I was in Jesse's shoes? What if I did die tomorrow? Am I in a position he was? And so that's something my son was able to kind of, just put on his friends and to relay that. That's what I really appreciated about him.
Here's to you, with that smile on your face. Here's to you, and what I want to raise to this moment we share.